If you're building an AI business right now, can you please just answer this one question? Are you building a business to last the next 6 months? Or are you building an enterprise valuable business to last you the next 10 years? If you want to build something that lasts decades, you need to stop thinking about AI model first and start really truly thinking about data first. Hermosi said it best.
You cannot have an AI business without first having a data-centric business, period. If you're like, I'm building AI, it's like, no, you're building a ChatGPT overlay. You're not building AI. AI is about training with data. And if you don't collect data and structure the data well with clear inputs and outputs, you don't have anything to train the AI on, which means you have nothing.
Most AI businesses of today, including early versions of my own, are not building data first. In fact, they're building prompt first. They're all wrapper companies that will soon become obsolete as soon as Anthropic or ChatGPT releases a better model. You can actually build a defensible AI business if you just understand one simple thing. It's not about having the best AI model, it's about having the best data. And more specifically, capturing data that models the rules of reality for your specific customer. So in this video, I'm going to go over the 3-step framework that I apply at Opulence AI that helped me transition from being a useful wrapper to building a real useful AI product that our avatars cannot live without after seeing what they're capable of. With all of that, let's get into it. So before you can truly understand how to apply this framework, you need to understand one critical piece of psychology: defining the dream outcome. Every business is tasked with helping an avatar achieve something specific in reality, a dream outcome. If you cannot clearly define what winning looks like for your customer, you cannot build an AI system or an AI business that is defensible. You need to know what type of outcome you are trying to predict with data. So the first step in building a defensible AI business is defining the dream outcome for your target avatar. And it helps me to think about it like a game. You're defining this game of what you're playing and they're playing with you. So for many years, I used to run a car detailing business. And let's just go over the game that I was playing when I was running that business. The dream outcome for me was simple. I wanted to get paid by my client and have them refer me to another friend. Everything I did, every conversation, communication, every door jam I scrubbed was try to win towards that goal, which was getting paid by them. What does winning actually look like in measurable, quantifiable terms? Is it 10 referrals a month? For contractors, who are the avatars we serve at Opulence, the dream outcome isn't just build houses more efficiently. We want to get contractors to have at least 12 ongoing projects per year, building multi-million-dollar custom homes with the least amount of job delays, with the least amount of change orders. That's the game that we're helping contractors win. So I actually created a prompt template that you can plug in your industry, your ideal customer, and the ideal result. And it's actually going to help you walk through building these rules and also the kind of dream outcome and game engine that we're talking about here. And that'll be linked in the description. So for every dream outcome for an avatar, there is a specific set of actions that need to happen in order to achieve that. And that's what we call rules. And this is where industry expertise, or being the actual avatar that you are building for, or at least having access to them, comes in handy, because you cannot just prompt these rules into existence. A lot of times you have to derive them or find them from an expert or from yourself. You can't just ask your customer, what are all of the actions that you do in order to achieve this dream outcome? You can't just ask the customer that, because they don't consciously know what they're doing in order to get the outcome that they currently have. And many times, the stuff that a business or a consumer is doing currently is not the outcome that they want. They're doing things that are getting an outcome that they don't want. We shouldn't be thinking about those types of rules. We should be trying to think about the behaviors they need to do in order to achieve this better dream outcome for them. So let me help define this with an example. We'll go back to car detailing. So my dream outcome was get paid by the client. Super simple. So in order for that to happen, for me to get paid by the client, I needed to have certain behaviors happen. I needed to get the client's trust before I even showed up to the job. I needed to show up on time. I needed to detail the car in a timely manner. And I needed to meet the expectations of the client with the job that was done. So those are just 4 rules off the top of my head that would allow me to win the game of car detailing. If I violated one of them, I might not get paid. So where does data come into all this? Where does AI actually come into all this? I'm getting there. Once you define the rules, you actually get to start seeing what variables or data needs to be captured in order to help you build a system to predict this winning outcome. Because if I wanted to predict if I was going to get paid from a detailing client, I would need to be able to predict if I was going to be able to follow the rules of the game, those 4 rules that I just laid out. And that's exactly what I'm working towards with Opulence with different contractors. The game engine that we're building for contractors is much more complex and has many different rules that we're still trying to derive and find. What has to happen in order for a contractor to get a referral? What has to happen in order for a contractor to finish a project on time? So for the contractor example, one of the rules that we found for getting a contractor more referrals is consistent communication between contractor and client. The most important part, though, was on a predictable cadence. It wasn't about them doing perfect work because that was just not realistic. It was more about being able to set expectations and meet those expectations on a consistent cadence of communication. And we would not have been able to derive those rules, one, because I am not an industry expert for building homes, but when we speak to many different industry experts and many different of our target avatars and people we want to build for, you were able to ask questions that kind of probe out these rules. What did you do differently on this job that you think made this customer give you a referral? And then it gets them thinking. That's how you kind of pull out this embedded knowledge that they have. So I actually created a resource prompting guide for you to help kind of create this game engine and rules or algorithms for your avatar or business that you're building. So once you have the rules defined, here's where the magic can actually happen. We want to now turn these rules into equations. So there are two different paths here that you can take. So path one is you want to capture real data. You go out into the world, you track what happens in thousands of scenarios, and then you feed that data into a model. And that model becomes a baked-in version of a defensible intellectual property for your business and sets you apart. That is the long-term play, but for me and maybe for many of you, we probably don't have access to the capital to do that. But path two is you build algorithmic equations based on your domain expertise or industry, and those equations themselves over time actually create your data set that you can use to train a model when the time is right. So here's what I mean with a car detailing example. One of the rules that we had was to get a client's trust. Now, what are the variables of getting clients' trust? Did they come from my website testimonial page? Did they come from a specific ad where I showed social proof? Are they a repeat customer? How much time did they spend on my website before booking? So based on those four things, I could potentially build an equation for that rule. It would look something like trust score equals website time times 0.3 plus ad source 0.4 plus repeat customer 0.5, and that would equal the trust score. And those little 0.4 and 0.3s, those are weights, because each one of these variables, they should not be weighted the same. So in this example, the website time is not weighted as heavily as if they're a repeat customer. If somebody's a repeat customer, they are likely to have more trust than if they just spend longer on my website. But if somebody spent 2 minutes on my website, they came from a best performing ad, and they're a repeat customer, they probably can be modeled as having high trust, and the trust score might be 0.8 out of 1. Let's model an equation for another rule. Show up on time. The variables that might affect me showing up on time is how early the detail is it really bad weather, do I have gas in my car, and what's my current schedule look like? Do I have many details booked on the same day? So then I could model that as an equation. Timeliness score equals 1.0 minus morning factor times 0.2 minus weather factor times 0.3 and minus schedule density times 0.2. And those, again, are all those weights next to them. So if it's 6 a.m., there's a storm, and I have a really packed schedule, my timeliness score might drop to 0.5. Let's do it for another rule. Detail the car in a timely manner. So what are all of the variables that affect how long it takes me to detail a car? Is there mold in the car? Is there pet hair in the car? How big is the car? How dirty are the wheels? So with those example variables, our equation could be detail time equals mold times 2.0 hours, pet hair times 1.5, dirty wheels times 0.5, and vehicle times 0.3. So if I had a large SUV with mold, pet hair, and a really dirty exterior, I would probably estimate that to take 6 to 7 hours rather than 3. Now here's the really beautiful part. After we have all of those equations written out, trust, timeliness, and detail time, I can plug them into a master equation that actually predicts my ultimate outcome. So for my dream outcome, which is I just want to get paid, probability of getting paid equals trust times 0.4 plus timeliness plus 0.3 and plus detail quality times 0.3. Again, we always have to weight these equations and variables depending on how much we think they affect whatever the outcome is we are measuring. And because I am a domain expert in that area, I just created a predictive equation, a predictive system that could help me calculate if I'm going to get paid. without having to capture a single data point yet. A really, really important part here to remember is the AI is not actually making the decision. In this system, the only job of the AI is to take messy inputs from reality. Maybe it's a voice transcription of me describing what the car looks like. Maybe it's pulling my schedule data. And it needs to format all of those messy input data variables into clean equation variables to where the equations that we just created can execute. And it is the output of the equation that then informs the decision we make on a business level, or helps us give us more context to make that decision. So when you build systems this way, you're not limited by OpenAI or Anthropic's or any baseline model being truly intelligent. You're actually relying on your own intelligence and domain expertise, which, contrary to what a lot of vibe coders want to hear, is a lot harder work, but it is the work that needs to be done in order to make a really valuable solution, to make a really defensible business. You're building proprietary logic that represents years of domain expertise and is debuggable, tunable, and auditable. So how am I taking this entire concept and actually building my company to abide by this framework? So currently we just finished up developing a tool called the Site Reporter, and it's actually in beta testing right now from contractors. It texts crew members on different job sites every single day and says, hey, what happened on the job site today? And it compiles a report for them. It then is able to create client in the loop summary emails every week to automatically email the client and say, hey, this is what happened on the job site. This is how much your new home has progressed, and kind of give them a clear visibility into the project that they're paying so much money for. Crew members would say something like, weather was good, no safety hazards, materials were delivered on time, and the framing crew finished on the second floor. Now, we're capturing data there, but remember, what is the dream outcome that I'm actually trying to solve for right now? And the dream outcome for the Site Reporter is actually predicting client satisfaction in order to give a contractor a high referral likelihood. We think the rules of the game in order to get a client or a contractor more referrals are consistent daily communication, materials delivered on certain thresholds, safety incidents below levels, and the project does not overextend its deadline by more than 20%. So right now we're working on algorithmic equations to model these rules. So just like the car detailing example, we're saying, based on what we know about construction, these are the variables that matter for this dream outcome. So referral likelihood might equal communication consistency times 0.4, schedule adherence times 0.3, safety hazards times 0.2, and material delay times 0.1. So the long-term play of this product that we're building is actually getting proprietary data to help predict referral likelihood for contractors. And eventually we'll be able to capture enough data to train our own model, so we won't have to rely on these equations anymore. We can just run a query to a specialized model, and it will be able to look at just a normal text or input of tokens and output a statistically likely referral likelihood for that customer, and also advise on certain practices to increase the score of getting a referral, or increase the likelihood of getting a referral. And that is how you're going to build a defensible AI business that survives the wrapper label and potentially a super intelligent model that would be dropped in a year or 2 or 3. You start with algorithms based on expertise. You capture real data that serve towards a customer's or avatar's dream outcome. You tune those equations to match reality as you test them with your avatars or your customers. And eventually you bake all of that structured data and intelligence into one of your own models, and boom, you have your own really valuable IP. So let's just recap the 3 steps. So step 1 is defining the dream outcome for your avatar. Step 2 is defining the rules of reality. What are the things that need to occur in order to achieve that dream outcome? And then the third is you want to model those rules with equations. When creating those equations, you want to identify which variables affect that rule and build those algorithmic systems to predict that rule. So I have a more in-depth course / free video on me actually building algorithmically with a construction scheduling prediction engine. I have it over somewhere up here on the YouTube video. I'll link that. You can go watch that. It's really good context on exactly what I'm talking about, how to actually create these equations, and you have really good examples for how to do it for yourself. And I also have another video about where I kind of just ramble about this same idea of using these algorithms or equations as tools for models. So I hope that video was insightful for you. Like I said, you can continue to watch more. You can get in contact with me by joining the community that I have. It's all free, and I just kind of post everything that I build here and everything I'm discovering with creating AI solutions that truly help people and create a defensible business. So thank you guys so much for watching.